The transport ship hummed through space toward the hostile planet below. Inside the metal walls, Marine Corporal Taman checked his weapon one last time. He looked around at his squad. 3 humans and 2 aliens sat ready for battle. The aliens were called Valkyrie. They looked like giant insects with hard shells covering their bodies. Their names were Cliff and Nexer. Both had 4 arms and eyes that could see in all directions. They moved with careful precision, like machines built for war. Cliff clicked his mandibles together. This was how his people showed worry. "Human Taman," he said in broken English, "your skin is so soft. How do you survive battle with no shell?" Taman smiled and tapped his armor vest. "This protects me well enough." Nexer shook his head. "Have seen your medical reports. Humans break easily. 1 deep cut and you bleed out. We Valkyrie have backup organs. If one heart stops, another takes over." The other human soldiers listened to this talk. Private Jiwoo cleaned her sniper rifle without looking up. "We may be soft, but we are tough where it counts." Sergeant Hyunwoo, the squad leader, stood up as the ship began to shake. "Landing in 2 minutes. Remember the mission. Scout the enemy base and get out fast. No heroes today." The planet below was covered in thick jungle. Enemy forces had built a weapons factory deep in the green wilderness. Command needed to know how many soldiers guarded it and what defenses they had built. Taman felt the ship touch down with a soft bump. The back door opened and hot, wet air rushed inside. The smell of rotting plants and strange flowers filled his nose. "Move out," Hyunwoo ordered. The mixed squad left the ship and entered the jungle. Taman took point position, leading the way through the thick plants. Behind him, Cliff and Nexer moved without making any sound. Their insect feet found the ground softly. The jungle was alive with noise. Birds called to each other in the trees above. Insects buzzed around their heads. Water dripped from huge leaves onto their shoulders. After 2 hours of walking, they reached a hill that looked down on the enemy base. Taman pulled out his binoculars and studied the target. The base was bigger than expected. Guard towers stood at each corner. Soldiers walked patrol routes around the buildings. "Count at least 40 hostiles," Taman whispered into his radio. "Heavy weapons on the towers. This is not going to be easy." Cleef moved up beside him. "People would send 100 warriors for this mission. Your human commanders send only 5. 5 is enough," Taman said. "We are here to watch, not fight." But the enemy had other plans. A patrol group of 6 hostile soldiers came up the hill behind them. Someone had spotted their landing ship. The enemy soldiers carried energy weapons that could cut through armor like paper. "Contact rear," Jiwoo called out. Her sniper rifle barked once. The enemy soldier fell. The jungle exploded into chaos. Energy bolts flew through the air, cutting down trees and setting leaves on fire. The squad spread out and returned fire. Taman rolled behind a large fallen log. Bark exploded around him as enemy shots hit his cover. He popped up and fired 3 quick shots. 2 enemy soldiers dropped. "We need to move," Hyunwoo shouted. More coming from the base. Taman could see soldiers running up the hill from the enemy base. Soon they would be surrounded. He pulled a grenade from his belt and threw it at the nearest enemy group. The explosion knocked down 3 soldiers. "Fall back to the ship," Hyunwoo ordered. The squad began to retreat through the jungle. Nexer and Cliff moved like ghosts, their forearms letting them carry extra weapons and equipment. They fired in all directions, keeping the enemy soldiers back. Taman ran beside Private Jiwoo, who had taken a hit to her leg. Blood seeped through her armor, but she kept moving. "I can make it," she said, through gritted teeth. Behind them, the enemy soldiers were getting closer. Taman could hear them crashing through the bushes. Their energy weapons lit up the jungle with bright flashes. Teeman Hyun-woo called, "Take Ji-woo and get to the ship. We will hold them here." Teeman nodded and helped Ji-woo move faster. Her leg was getting worse, but she did not complain. They reached a small clearing where the jungle opened up. That was when the trap triggered. The enemy had planted mines in the clearing, pressure plates hidden under the leaves. Teeman saw the first one too late. His foot came down on the metal disc. "Get down," he yelled, pushing Ji-woo away from him. The mine exploded with a flash of orange fire. The blast wave hit Teeman like a giant fist. He felt himself flying through the air. Pain shot through his body as he hit the ground hard. When the ringing in his ears stopped, Teeman tried to move. Something was wrong. Very wrong. He looked down at his body and saw blood everywhere. His right arm was gone, cut off clean at the shoulder by the explosion. Ji-woo was on the ground nearby, unconscious but breathing. The blast had thrown her against a tree. She needed medical help, fast. Clith and Nexer came running into the clearing. They stopped when they saw Teeman. Their insect eyes went wide with shock. "The human is finished," Clith said. "Major limb loss. He will die in minutes. We must carry him to the ship," Nexer said. "Get the medical kit." Teeman heard them talking, but their voices sounded far away. He felt cold and dizzy. His vision kept going in and out of focus, but he was still alive. Still thinking, he reached for his medical kit with his remaining arm. His fingers found the tourniquet, the rubber band that could stop bleeding. He wrapped it around what was left of his shoulder and pulled it tight. The pain was incredible, like fire burning through his bones, but the bleeding slowed down. "Ji-woo?" he called out. "Ji-woo, wake up." She did not respond. Her breathing was weak. More enemy soldiers were coming. Teeman could hear their voices getting closer. He pulled out a combat stim from his medical kit. The drug would keep him awake and fighting even with massive injuries. He jammed the needle into his leg and pressed the button. The medicine hit his system like lightning. The pain became distant. His mind cleared. "Clith," he said, "help me get Ji-woo up. We need to move now." The Valkyrie Marine stared at him. "Human, you have lost too much blood. You should be dead." "Am not dead yet," Teeman said. He stood up slowly, using his remaining arm to balance. "Hey, and I am not leaving her behind." Enemy soldiers appeared at the edge of the clearing. Energy bolts started flying again. Teeman grabbed Ji-woo with his good arm and started dragging her toward the ship. "Cover us," he yelled to the Valkyrie Marines. Clith and Nexer looked at each other in amazement. They had never seen anything like this. A warrior who kept fighting after losing a limb. It went against everything they knew about biology and combat, but they followed orders. Their weapons barked, driving the enemy back. Teeman pulled Ji-woo through the jungle, leaving a trail of blood behind him. Each step was agony, but he did not stop. He could not stop. The ship was just ahead. Safety was just ahead, but the hardest part was still to come. The medical bay aboard the Stellar Dawn was filled with the sounds of beeping machines and worried voices. Teeman lay on a white bed, connected to tubes and wires. His right shoulder was wrapped in clean bandages where his arm used to be. Dr. Yuna worked quickly over him, checking his vital signs. She was the ship's chief medical officer, a small woman with steady hands and calm eyes. "Blood pressure stable," she said to her assistant. "Heart rate normal. He is going to live." Across the room, the alien medical staff huddled together. They spoke in their own language, clicking and buzzing with confusion. Their leader, a tall Valkyrie named Vorth, approached Dr. Yuna. "This is impossible," Vorth said. "The human lost a primary limb. He should be dead or dying. How is he still functioning?" Dr. Yuna looked up from her patient. Humans are built to survive trauma. We heal fast and adapt quickly. Losing a limb is serious, but not fatal if treated properly. Force 4 eyes blinked in sequence. For my people, such injury means death within hours. Our nervous system cannot handle major limb loss. The shock alone would kill us. Every species is different, Dr. Yuna said. Humans evolved on a dangerous world. We learned to keep going even when badly hurt. In the corner of the medical bay, Cliff and Nexer watched everything with growing amazement. They had carried Taman to the ship, expecting him to die during the journey. Instead, he had stayed awake the whole time, giving them directions and checking on Jiwoo. He saved my life, Jiwoo said from the bed next to Taman. Her leg was in a cast, but she was alert and talking. Even with his arm gone, he dragged me to safety. Cliff moved closer to her bed. How is this possible? Your friend lost so much blood. He should have passed out. Zemin is tough, Jiwoo said with a smile. All humans are tough. We have to be. 3 days later, Taman was sitting up in bed, eating solid food and talking to visitors. His color had returned to normal. The bandages on his shoulder were clean and dry. He looked almost healthy. Colonel Minho entered the medical bay with a serious expression. He was the human commander of the Joint Forces, a man with gray hair and kind eyes. How are you feeling, Corporal? Ready to return to duty, sir, Taman said without hesitation. The colonel raised an eyebrow. You lost your right arm 3 days ago. Most soldiers would need months to recover from such trauma. I have been thinking about it, sir. I can still fight, okay? I can still serve my squad. I just need to learn new ways to do things. Dr. Vorth, who had been listening nearby, stepped forward. Commander Minho, this is medical madness. The human needs extensive rehabilitation. He needs counseling for trauma. He needs time to accept his new limitations. Colonel Minho looked at the alien doctor, then back at Taman. What do you think, Corporal? Are you ready to adapt your skills? Yes, sir. I have been practicing already. Taman reached for a water bottle on the bedside table. He grabbed it smoothly with his left hand, opened it one-handed, and took a drink. I can do everything I need to do. Dr. Yuna nodded approvingly. His motor skills are adapting faster than expected. The human brain is remarkable at rewiring itself after injury. Nexer, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. We watched him during the fight. After losing his arm, he became more focused, not less. He moved with greater purpose. That is the human survival instinct, Dr. Yuna explained. When we face a crisis, our bodies and minds work together to overcome it. We do not give up easily. Over the next week, Taman began physical therapy. The ship's gym was equipped with machines for rehabilitation. Every morning, he worked out with weights and resistance bands. Learning to use his remaining arm more effectively, the alien crew members often stopped to watch. They had never seen anything like it. A warrior who became stronger after losing a limb. Look at him, Cliff said to Nexer, as they observed team men doing pull-ups one-handed. He is lifting more weight now than some of our soldiers can manage. With 4 arms. His balance is different too, Nexer observed. He moves like a dancer now, more fluid. Kamen had also been working on his combat skills. He practiced drawing his pistol with his left hand, learning to reload quickly using his knee and remaining arm. He studied new fighting techniques designed for single-armed combat. Sergeant Heinwu visited him daily to discuss tactics. We need to modify your role in the squad, the sergeant said. You cannot carry as much equipment, but you can move faster and quieter. I have been thinking about that, Taman said. I could focus on reconnaissance and electronics. My smaller profile might be an advantage in tight spaces. What about the prosthetic arm the medical team is preparing? Hyun-woo asked. That will help, but I want to be useful even without it. Soldiers should not depend on technology that might fail. Dr. Yuna entered the gym and approached them. The prosthetic is ready for testing. It is not perfect, but it should restore most of your functionality. She led them to the medical bay, where a mechanical arm waited on a table. It was made of silver metal and black synthetic materials. Sensors and wires connected it to a control unit. This is a basic model, Dr. Yuna explained. Responds to nerve signals from your remaining shoulder muscles. You can control the hand and wrist movements with practice. Taemin examined the prosthetic carefully. How long will it take to learn to use it? Most patients need several months of training, but you are not most patients. The fitting process took 2 hours. Dr. Yuna and her team attached the prosthetic to Tima's shoulder using a harness system. They calibrated the sensors and tested the connections. Tried to move the fingers. Dr. Yuna instructed Timan, concentrated. The mechanical fingers twitched, then slowly closed into a fist. He opened them again, one by one. Excellent, Dr. Yuna said. Try picking up something small. Taemin reached for a pen on the table. The prosthetic hand moved awkwardly at first, but he managed to grip the pen. He tried to write his name. The letters were shaky, but readable. This will take practice, he said. You will master it quickly, Dr. Yuna assured him. Your brain is already adapting to the new limb. That evening, Taemin sat in the ship's observation deck, looking out at the stars. His prosthetic arm lay across his lap as he practiced moving the fingers. Clith and Nexer joined him. We've been talking to our commanders, Clith said. They do not understand what we have witnessed. They think we are exaggerating your recovery. What did you tell them? Taemin asked. We told them the truth, that humans are more dangerous when injured than when healthy. That you turn to weakness into a strength. Nexer nodded. Our people need to understand. Humans are not fragile. You are the opposite of fragile. We are survivors, Taemin said simply. We adapt because we must. Will you return to combat duty? Clith asked. Taemin flexed his prosthetic fingers. They moved smoothly now, responding to his thoughts. Yes, my squad needs me, and I am not finished serving. The two Valkyrie Marines looked at each other with understanding. They had learned something important about their human allies. Something that would change how they viewed the galaxy. Humans did not break when damaged. They rebuilt themselves stronger than before, and that made them the most dangerous warriors in the universe. 3 weeks after the explosion, Taemin stood in the ship's workshop with tools scattered around him. His prosthetic arm lay on the workbench, opened up to show the circuits inside. He had been making changes to it every day since receiving it. What are you doing to that poor machine? Ju asked as she limped into the workshop. Her leg was healing well, but she still needed a walking stick. Making it better, Taemin said. He picked up a small circuit board with his good hand. The basic model is too slow. I need faster response time. The doctors said not to modify it. The doctors do not have to fight with it. Taemin carefully placed the new circuit into the prosthetic. I know what I need better than they do. Clith and Nexer entered the workshop, carrying data tablets. They had been spending most of their time watching the human crew and taking notes. Their commanders wanted detailed reports about human behavior. Human Team, Clith said, we have been observing you for 21 days. Your adaptation rate is beyond our understanding. How so? Taemin asked, not looking up from his work. You have changed your fighting style completely. You move differently. You think differently. It is as if losing your arm made you evolve into a new type of warrior. Taemin smiled. Maybe it did. I cannot do things the old way anymore, so I had to find new ways. Nexer activated his tablet and showed them a video. It was combat footage from the ship's training room. This is you fighting 3 days ago. The video showed Taemin sparring with another Marine. He moved like a dancer, flowing around his opponent's attacks. His prosthetic arm blocked strikes while his natural arm delivered precise counterattacks. Now watch this, Nexer said, switching to another video. This is you fighting before your injury. The second video showed a different fighting style. Timon was strong and aggressive, using both arms to overpower his opponent, but his movements were predictable and straightforward. You see the difference? Cliff asked. Before, you fought like a hammer. Now, you fight like a blade. Timon studied the videos with interest. I never noticed that. I suppose I had to become more clever when I lost my strength. You did not lose strength, Nexer said. Our measurements show you are stronger now than before, but you used that strength differently. The prosthetic arm is heavier than flesh, Timon explained. It changed my balance. Had to learn to use that weight as a weapon. Chu sat down on a nearby stool. Show them the new reload technique you developed. Timon picked up his rifle and demonstrated. He ejected the empty magazine with his prosthetic hand while reaching for a new one with his natural hand. The reload was faster and smoother than the standard two-handed method. Impressive, Cliff said. But why do you continue to modify the prosthetic? The medical team said it was working perfectly. Perfect for walking around the ship, Timon said. Not perfect for combat. He gestured to the opened prosthetic. Added better grip sensors, faster motor response, and reinforced joints. Now it can do things a natural arm cannot, such as Timon picked up a steel bar from the workbench. With his prosthetic hand, he slowly bent it into a U-shape, enhanced strength. And watch this. He touched the prosthetic fingers to an electronic panel on the wall. The lights in the workshop dimmed, then brightened. I can interface directly with computer systems. No need for keyboards or touchscreens. The two Valkyrie Marines looked at each other in amazement. You have turned a disability into an advantage, Nexer said. I do not think of it as a disability, Timon replied. I think of it as an upgrade. Dr. Yuna entered the workshop, followed by Lieutenant Hyun-woo. There you are, she said. I have been looking for you everywhere. Is something wrong, Doctor? Timon asked. The prosthetic is sending error messages to the medical computer. The system thinks it is malfunctioning because of your modifications. It is not malfunctioning. It is working better than ever. Dr. Yuna picked up his medical chart. Your physical therapy scores are off the charts. You are performing better than baseline in every category. That is good news, right? It is incredible news. Most amputees take months to reach basic functionality. You have exceeded your original capabilities in 3 weeks. Lieutenant Hyun-woo stepped forward. That is why I am here. Command wants to know if you are ready to return to active duty. I have been ready for 2 weeks, Timon said immediately. The alien medical staff disagrees. They think you are pushing too hard, too fast. Cliff spoke up. With respect, Lieutenant, the alien medical staff does not understand humans. We have been watching Timon closely. He is not pushing himself. This is normal human adaptation. Normal, Yuna asked. For humans? Yes, when faced with a challenge, you do not simply endure it. You overcome it. You become stronger because of it. Nexer nodded. We have been studying your species' history. Every time humans face a crisis, they emerge more capable than before. War makes you better at fighting. Disease makes you better at medicine. Hardship makes you better at survival. That is how evolution works, Dr. Yuna said. But this is happening too fast to be genetic evolution. It is not genetic, Cliff said. It is mental. Humans have evolved the ability to adapt quickly to new situations. Your brains rewire themselves in real time. Lieutenant Hyun-woo looked at Timon. Show me what you can do. Timon stood up and picked up his rifle. He ran through a series of combat drills, moving faster and more fluidly than before his injury. His prosthetic arm moved in perfect coordination with his natural arm. Weapon maintenance, Hyun-woo ordered. Timon disassembled his rifle completely in less than a minute. He cleaned each part with practiced efficiency, then reassembled it. The prosthetic fingers moved with mechanical precision, handling small parts that would challenge natural hands. Combat scenarios, Hyun-woo said. Taemin moved through the workshop like it was a battlefield. He used his prosthetic arm to move obstacles while his natural arm aimed imaginary weapons. He demonstrated how he could multitask in ways that were impossible before. Electronic warfare, Hyun-woo ordered. Taemin connected his prosthetic to the workshop's computer system. Within seconds, he had access to ship's training programs and was running combat simulations. His prosthetic could process data faster than any human hand could type. Enough, Hyun-woo said. You are cleared for duty. Thank you, sir. But you will start with training missions only. I need to see how you perform with the full squad. Over the following days, Taemin worked with his squad mates to develop new tactics. His enhanced capabilities opened up possibilities that had not existed before. You can be our tech specialist now, Ji-woo said during one training session. Hack enemy systems while we provide cover. Or our heavy weapons operator, suggested another Marine. That prosthetic arm will not get tired holding a machine gun. Or our medic, added the third. Those mechanical fingers can perform surgery better than human hands. Taemin listened to all their ideas with growing excitement. His injury had not ended his military career, had expanded it. The alien crew members watched these developments with fascination. They had never seen anything like it. It's a warrior who became more valuable after being wounded. We must report this to our homeworld, Clith said to Nexer. Our people need to understand what humans are capable of. They will not believe it, Nexer replied. They will think we are lying or confused. Then we must gather more evidence. We must document everything. As the days passed, Taemin continued to surprise everyone. His prosthetic arm kept improving as he refined its capabilities. He could now perform tasks that no purely human soldier could manage, and he was just getting started. The briefing room was packed with officers from different species. At the front of the room, a holographic display showed the layout of a city under enemy control. Buildings stretched upward like metal fingers, connected by bridges and walkways. Colonel Minho stood before the group, his face serious. Intelligence reports show the enemy has taken control of the central communications tower. They are using it to coordinate attacks across 3 sectors. Taemin sat with his squad in the front row. His prosthetic arm rested naturally on his knee, looking almost identical to his flesh arm. Only the slight metallic gleam gave it away. The mission is simple, Colonel Minho continued. Get inside the tower, disable their communications, and get out. The problem is location. The tower is surrounded by narrow streets and tall buildings, perfect for ambushes. Commander Vex, the Velkar military leader, stood up. His 4 arms gestured toward the display. This mission requires precision and overwhelming force. We should send 50 warriors, minimum. We do not have 50 warriors to spare, Colonel Minho replied. This is a stealth mission. Small team, quick strike. Then do not send the damaged. Human, Vex said bluntly. Armed soldiers cannot handle urban combat. The room fell silent. Every eye turned to Taemin, who remained calm and still. Lieutenant Hyun-woo spoke up. Corporal Taemin is fully combat ready. Recent performance scores prove it. Performance scores in training, Vex said. Combat is different. Combat is deadly. Colonel Minho looked at Taemin. What do you think, Corporal? Taemin stood up slowly. I think Commander Vex is right to be concerned. Urban combat is dangerous, but I also think I am the best choice for this mission. Explain, Colonel Minho said. The enemy expects standard assault tactics, okay? They are prepared for soldiers who move predictably. I do not move predictably anymore. Taemin walked to the holographic display and pointed to the narrow spaces between buildings. These passages are too small for normal combat teams, but I can fit through them easily. My prosthetic arm can interface with their security systems directly. And if you get trapped, Vex asked, then I adapt. That is what humans do, Commander. Vex looked unconvinced, but Colonel Minho nodded. The mission is approved. Squad 7 will handle the insertion. 2 hours later, the squad sat in a transport ship approaching the city. Taman checked his equipment one final time. His rifle was modified for one-handed operation. His prosthetic arm carried extra ammunition and electronic tools. Nervous? She was their sniper, still walking with a slight limp from her injury. No, Taman said, honestly, I feel ready. Clith and Nexer sat across from them, their insect eyes watching everything. We have requested permission to accompany this mission, Clith said. Why? Lieutenant Hoonwoo asked. To observe, Nexer replied. Our people need to see what humans can do. The transport ship landed on a rooftop 3 blocks from the target. Squad moved out under cover of darkness. The city streets were empty except for enemy patrols. First checkpoint, Hoo-hoon whispered into his radio. 2 guards at the intersection. Taman moved forward alone. His prosthetic arm was completely silent, unlike flesh that might make small sounds. He approached the guards from behind, using his mechanical hand to disable their communications. The key, while his natural hand handled his weapon. Both guards were down before they knew he was there. Clear, Taman whispered. The squad moved forward. At each obstacle, Taman found solutions that would have been impossible before his injury. His prosthetic arm could reach through narrow gaps to unlock doors. It could interface with electronic systems without making noise. This is incredible, Nexer whispered to Cleeth. He is like a ghost. They reached the base of the communications tower without being detected. The building stretched 50 floors above them, its walls covered in sensor arrays and defensive systems. Guards. At the main entrance, Ji-woo reported from her overwatch position. At least 8 hostiles. Side entrance, Hyun was asked. Also guarded. They have this place locked down tight. Taman studied the building carefully. There, he said, pointing to a narrow maintenance shaft near the base. I can get in through there. That opening is too small for a person, Hyun-woo said. Too small for a normal person, Taman corrected. But I am not normal anymore. The maintenance shaft was barely wide enough for his shoulders. Taman removed his armor and equipment, keeping only his sidearm and electronic tools. His prosthetic arm folded against his body, making him even smaller. If you get stuck in there, Hyun-woo said, we cannot help you. I will not get stuck, Taman said confidently. He crawled into the shaft. The metal walls pressed against him from all sides. A normal person would have felt claustrophobic, but Taman found it comforting. He was alone, focused, and moving toward his target. The shaft led up through the building's interior. Taman climbed slowly, using his prosthetic arm to grip the metal walls. The mechanical fingers could find purchase on surfaces that would defeat flesh hands. After 20 minutes of climbing, he reached the communications center. Through a ventilation grate, he could see the enemy operators working at their stations. 6 soldiers monitored screens and radio equipment. Team men connected his prosthetic arm to the building's electrical system. Information flowed directly into Reek A. Queen, directly into his mind through the neural interface. He could see the entire network layout, understand the communication protocols, and identify the system's weak points. I am in position, he whispered into his radio, beginning electronic assault. His prosthetic fingers moved faster than any human hand could type. He accessed the communication system's core programming and began inserting viruses and logic bombs. The enemy's network started to collapse from within. Alarms began to sound throughout the building. Red lights flashed as the communications system shut down piece by piece. They know something is wrong, Hyun-woo said, through the radio. Finish. Quickly, Tammet worked faster. His prosthetic arm multitasked, running dozens of programs simultaneously. He was not just disabling the communications system. He was turning it into a weapon. The enemy operators in the room below began to panic. Their screens showed cascading system failures. Some terminals actually caught fire as team men overloaded their circuits. System down, team men reported. I will not be coordinating attacks for weeks. Good work. Get out of there. But Taman had one more surprise. He activated a program that would broadcast false orders to enemy forces throughout the city. Instead of coordinating attacks, the communication system would now spread confusion and chaos. Taman Hyen's voice was urgent. Enemy forces are moving toward your position. You need to leave now. Taman disconnected from the system and began crawling back through the maintenance shaft. But the enemy had found his entry point. A key. Could hear soldiers gathering at the base of the building. Exit blocked, he reported. I need another way out. His prosthetic arm interfaced with the building's elevator system. He could see that one maintenance elevator reached the roof. If he could get to it, he could escape upward instead of down. Change of plans, he said. I am going up. Taman crawled through the shaft system until he reached the elevator. The mechanical arm easily opened the emergency access panel. He dropped into the elevator car and sent it racing toward the roof. Enemy soldiers were climbing the stairs, trying to catch him. But Taman was already thinking several steps ahead. His prosthetic arm activated the building's fire suppression system, filling the stairwells with foam that would slow the pursuit. The elevator reached the roof. Taman stepped out under the night sky, where the transport ship was waiting for him. Extraction complete, Hyunwoo said as they lifted off. Mission successful. Clith and Nexer stared at Taman in amazement. You did things that should have been impossible, Clith said. I did what needed to be done, Taman replied simply. No, Nexer said. You did much more than that. You turned a simple sabotage mission into a masterpiece of electronic warfare. The transport ship flew back to the Stellar Dawn. Taman looked at his prosthetic arm with satisfaction. The injury that should have ended his career had instead made him into something new. Something better. Something that even he was still discovering. The Stellar Dawn hummed through space toward the fleet's main base. In the recreation area, groups of alien soldiers gathered around tables, talking in excited voices. The story of the one-armed human marine had spread throughout the ship. Taemin sat at his usual table, cleaning his prosthetic arm with careful precision. The mechanical limb had been upgraded again after the tower mission. New circuits made it faster and stronger than before. Tell us about the tower again, said Cass, a young Valkyrie engineer. How did you climb through the maintenance shaft? It was not that difficult, Taman said modestly. The shaft was narrow, but I fit. But how did you control the entire building's systems? Asked another alien. Our people need special equipment for that kind of electronic warfare. Taman held up his prosthetic hand. This is my special equipment now. Clith and Nexer sat at the next table, surrounded by officers from their homeworld. The Valkyrie High Command had sent a delegation to study human capabilities. The two Marines were trying to explain what they had witnessed. The human adapted to his injury in ways we cannot fully understand, Clith said. He did not just learn to function without his arm. He became something better than he was before. Commander Senth, a senior Valkyrie officer, shook his head. You are asking us to believe that losing a limb made him stronger. This goes against all biological science. Science does not explain everything about humans, Nexer replied. We have watched them for months now. They do not follow normal patterns. Shell me the combat footage again, Synth ordered. Nexer activated his tablet and displayed video from the tower mission. The delegation watched as Tammin moved through impossible spaces, interfaced with complex systems, and completed objectives that should have required a full team. "This is edited," another officer said. "No single warrior could do all this. It is not edited," Cliff said firmly. "We were there. We saw everything." Colonel Minho entered the recreation area and walked to Timon's table. "Corporal, I need to speak with you privately." They moved to a quiet corner of the room. "What is it, sir?" Timon asked. "Fleet Command has been reviewing your mission reports. They want to understand how one soldier accomplished what usually requires a full assault team, had advantages that normal soldiers do not have. Explain that to them yourself. You have been ordered to report to the flagship tomorrow. Admiral Chen wants to meet you personally." Tamon nodded. "Will this affect my duty status?" "That depends on what the Admiral decides. But I think you should prepare for some changes." The next day, Tamon stood in the shuttle bay wearing his dress uniform. His prosthetic arm was polished to a mirror shine. Lieutenant Hyunwoo and his squad mates had come to see him off. "Remember us when you become famous," Jiwoo said with a smile. "I am not going to become famous. This is just a meeting." "A meeting with the fleet admiral," Hyunwoo said. "They do not call corporals to meet admirals unless something big is happening." The shuttle flight to the flagship took 2 hours. During the journey, Spearman reviewed his mission reports and prepared to answer questions about his capabilities. The flagship was enormous, home to thousands of crew members from dozens of species. As Timon walked through the corridors, he noticed how other beings stopped to stare at him. Word of the one-armed human had spread throughout the fleet. Admiral Chen's office was located at the heart of the ship. The admiral was an older human woman with silver hair and sharp eyes. She stood behind a desk covered with reports and data tablets. "Corporal Timon," she said as he entered. "I have been reading about your recent activities." "Yes, ma'am." "Damn, we have much to discuss." Timon took a seat across from her desk. Admiral Chen studied him carefully, her eyes focusing on his prosthetic arm. "The alien commanders are confused," she said. "They cannot understand how losing a limb improved your combat effectiveness." "I learned to adapt, ma'am. Humans are good at adapting. Some humans are. But what you have accomplished goes beyond normal adaptation. You have become something new." Admiral Chen activated a holographic display that showed combat statistics. "Your effectiveness ratings have increased by 40% since your injury. Your mission success rate is now 100%. These numbers are unprecedented. I had good training and good equipment. You had the same training and equipment before your injury. The difference is not external. The difference is you." She stood and walked around her desk. "Fleet Command wants to understand this phenomenon. If we can replicate your adaptability, we could revolutionize military medicine." "I do not think it can be replicated, ma'am. What happened to me was unique, perhaps, but we need to try. I am assigning you to a new position." Tamon felt his stomach tighten. "What kind of position?" "Training instructor. You will work with mixed species units, teaching them how to adapt to injury and equipment loss. Okay? Show them that limitations can become advantages." "I am not qualified to be an instructor." "You are the most qualified person in the fleet. You have practical experience that no classroom can provide." Admiral Chen handed him a data tablet. "Your new assignment includes upgraded prosthetics, advanced training facilities, and a team of specialists. You will help create the next generation of adaptive warriors." Tamon studied the information on the tablet. The scope of the project was enormous. They wanted him to develop training programs for multiple species, create new prosthetic technologies, and establish protocols for rapid adaptation. "This is not just about me anymore," he realized. "Exactly. Your story has inspired beings throughout the fleet. They want to know that injury does not mean the end of their service. You can show them that it might mean the beginning of something better. 2 weeks later, Taman stood in a massive training facility aboard the flagship. The room was filled with soldiers from a dozen different species, all watching him with curious eyes. "My name is Instructor Taman," he said. "6 months ago, I lost my arm in combat. Today, I am going to show you why that was the best thing that ever happened to my military career." He raised his prosthetic arm and demonstrated its capabilities. The mechanical fingers moved with perfect precision, interfacing with training equipment and lifting weights that would challenge organic limbs. "Adaptation is not about accepting limitations," he continued. "It is about finding new ways to exceed your original capabilities." In the back of the room, Clith and Nexer watched with pride. They had been assigned as permanent advisors to the program, helping to bridge the gap between human and alien understanding. "He has become a symbol," Clith said quietly. "More than a symbol," Nexer replied. "He has become proof that humans are not just survivors, they are evolvers." Over the following months, Taman's training program grew. Soldiers who had been discharged due to injuries returned to active duty with new prosthetics and modified techniques. The success rate was remarkable, but more importantly, the program changed how the entire fleet viewed disability and adaptation. What had once been seen as weakness was now recognized as an opportunity for improvement. Taman's prosthetic arm continued to evolve as well. New upgrades gave him capabilities that exceeded any biological limb. He could interface with ship systems, perform precision repairs, and handle extreme temperatures without protection. "You have started something that will outlive all of us," Admiral Chen told him during one of their regular meetings. "I just wanted to keep serving my squad," Taman said. "And now you are serving the entire fleet. Your adaptation has become our adaptation." The Stellar Dawn continued its journey through space, carrying its mixed crew of humans and aliens. Taman reflected on how much had changed. His injury had not ended his story. It had begun a new chapter that was still being written, and somewhere in the vast darkness of space, other warriors were learning that losing something did not mean losing everything. Sometimes it meant finding something better. The legend of the one-armed Marine had become more than a story. It had become a new way of thinking about what it meant to be strong.